In the last 3 months, we've seen shocking photos of the Dalai Lama, the Pentagon, and Elon Musk with Congresswoman AOC. And they were all created by regular people with AI tools. No big budget Kubrick production here. The cost in terms of time and money for creating frauds and fakes has been basically reduced to zero. And that means if you're equipped with Midjourney or ChatGPT, all it takes is a couple clicks and button presses to deliberately spread misinformation online. And oops, in the process, looks like we might have broken democracy. Right, as we've covered before, misinformation is lies spread on the internet, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And people do this whether to win an ideological argument, to earn some money, or some people just do it to watch the world burn. Now let's go way back. The poster child for misinformation campaigns was the Macedonian fake news factory during the 2016 presidential election. Now it was run by teenagers who discovered in black hat marketing forums that they could get a lot of clicks and therefore a lot of ad revenue writing hyper-partisan, very critical, very viral news. And they also discovered these articles didn't have to be true. If they just lied, no one would stop them, and they'd still get the ad revenue. Now there were over 100 of these sites identified as being based in Macedonia, despite having names like American Truth News Network. And all of these articles getting shared on Facebook, because remember, this was 2016, would be seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And for these teenagers, it would generate a lot of ad revenue. Some of them were earning thousands of pounds a day. So a wonderful side hustle where these people could provide for themselves and for their family. But oops, some of those millions of people would have voted in the election, and some of them thought those claims were true. Oopsie. So does this mean a group of teenagers trying to make a quick buck in Macedonia broke democracy 7 years ago? So these people would often work in teams, and one person could publish about a dozen articles a day, mostly by copying and pasting normal news articles and then editing it to make it much angrier and just write a bunch of insults. But now, with the advent of large language models, you don't need a team of people to do it. You don't have to put in the hours. When OpenAI demoed their GPT technology for the first time, the very first use case was generating fake news. Now granted, it was about scientists discovering unicorns, but it cannot be underestimated the psychic damage of the seed that this planted in people's heads, that AI was made for generating news. Truthful or not, because this technology doesn't just make it easy to write fake news, it allows you to scale it infinitely. There are tools out there right now designed for marketers that allow you to generate lots of trending search keywords and then import those keywords, and within 15 minutes it will generate hundreds of articles about them. So you can put them on your website, and then when we're searching for the best lawnmowers, we'll have an article about it, and it would have taken minutes. Now it's really not much of a stretch to imagine replacing the keyword lawnmower with Trump's secret elf cave. And remember this image of Steve Bannon, Trump's strategist, which was slightly edited to make him look, well, just a little less healthy? Well now, instead of booting up Photoshop and fiddling with the masks and the blending modes, you could just type in a couple words into Midjourney about Steve Bannon doing something inappropriate and instantly have it spit out a dozen photos that are fairly convincing. Apply a noise filter on it, and you're golden. And that's exactly what happened this year with generated photos of former President Trump being arrested. And the same goes for audio and video too. Last month, a video of President Zelensky ordering his Ukraine forces to surrender went around. The audio was generated by one of these voice cloning platforms, and the video was a deepfake. Now this used to take pretty hefty hardware to render, but now you can do it on a MacBook Air, or even just outsource it to the cloud, so anyone can do it. And you can stitch all of these things together to create a multi-platform, very convincing false narrative, just as this part shitpost, part art piece did, which had a series of articles, documentary photos, and interviews about the Great Cascadia earthquake of 2003. A natural disaster in North America, which never actually happened. And now anyone can generate these multi-platform misinformation adventures with a couple clicks. So, where does this leave us? The rumour mill, whether it's fueled subtly by spin doctors or more deliberately by politicians working with newspapers, has always been used to get eyeballs on content and to influence public opinion. But it used to take a bit of effort, and now it doesn't. With the use of these AI technologies, plus a few button presses, the will to spread lies is enough to convince people of falsehoods very effectively. NewsGuard has already found over 100 of these AI-generated, made-for-advertising revenue news sites, and it's finding hundreds more every single month. So we have a really big challenge ahead of us now as we hurtle towards a US presidential election and a UK general election, as AI-generated fake news may undermine people's ability to make democratic choices based on the truth rather than fiction. So how do we stop it? To be honest, the solution somewhere lies in institutions and electoral commissions pushing for a more widespread media literacy and giving them tools and places to look for them to verify news sources themselves. And you could always try and go down the regulation route to try and stop these platforms from generating false news in the first place, but good luck regulating that. It's literally on the opening page of Google's AI and OpenAI's page that these tools will generate lies. It's just there. And even if you do succeed and these platforms become guardrailed, the next generation of teenagers trying to make money can just download an open source large language model or guided diffusion image generation model and take off the guardrails. They're already on people's platforms locally. So what do you think? Do we try and capture this false news epidemic at the source with the stuff being made? Or do we try and address it further down the line as people are consuming it? Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Can we simply rely on the wisdom of the crowds to weed out trustworthy sites from untrustworthy sites? I'd like to hear your opinion because I think this is going to be an ongoing discussion between people like me and news consumers and news platforms themselves. Misinformation is something I've worked in for over 5 years now. And next to COVID, this is one of the biggest challenges we've faced. But for now, I will just thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.